Start streaming. OBS is hilarious. We ain't got all night, you know? So, what's up, guys? What's up, everybody? I'm Year Trey, aka Osh. We have Patrick right above me.
Mhm.
And to my left, the world champion, Jose. He dethroned me effectively and decisively. Congratulations, bro. Congratulations. Keep it in the family, you know what I'm saying?
Of
So,
course.
without further ado, let's start. Let's get drunk with Let's Get Dangerous. Uh, Pat, I'll let you start. I'll let you say a few words if you want to chime in.
Yeah. So, I'm
Immediately rolls off camera.
Patrick Lenhan, aka Darkwing Deck, aka Bai Hu Jiao. In Mandarin, that means white pepper. Um, and I am not officially sponsored by any alcohol companies, but if I was, it would be by Taiwan Classic Beer. A big flavor from a small country.
Hey, yo, I don't own the rights for that. Be like, don't sue me, bro. All right, Jose, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, bud? It's always good to be here. I decided to go a little different. No beer today. The Coronas are away, so we are gonna do a little bit some Malibu Black.
Hey,
Of
that's
course,
what I'm
we got
talking
Diet Coke. Gotta keep the calories under wrap.
There you
So
go.
about.
popping this bad boy for the first time. And
All right. Congratulations, sir. That is a drink of a champion. Myself, and Irene. I have a nice insulated cup that my girlfriend got me, and inside of this cup is some fermented apples. That's right. I'm drinking Angry Orchard. Pinky
nice.
up, fellas. Pinky up.
As well,
Yes.
you should.
Salute, salute, salute. Congratulations to Let's Get Dangerous for taking 3 of the top 4 spots.
Woo,
Cheers, fellas.
Yeah, cheers, man.
boys. Mm.
Hey yo, so
So good with lips.
hey,
That's
what's
good.
up, random noob? How you doing, bro? Good to see you in the chat. So yeah, we're gonna start. Actually, I'm gonna start by saying, Apex, I listened to your podcast, sir. I listened to all 13 of y'all go over your tournament. All right, got some bones to pick with you, and but what we're gonna do is no Ace of Spades for the champ. Hey yo, Ace of Spades is expensive, bro. He ain't get that check yet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. But so we're gonna do. If you guys want a deck profile of Jose's deck, you want to take a look at his deck list. Jump over to Mr. Ben's channel. He did a great podcast. You can find him. He's the build phase, right, Jose? If you want to plug him, I
Yes, sir.
think he has a Discord out. I can pop his Discord in the description once this is over. They did a really good in-depth deck profile, and they also went over a lot of things that we're gonna cover again because that's how we do. All right, but Pat, I want you to talk about your deck a little bit. Just give me like a quick overview of your deck, and I'll roll through find your deck list.
Sure.
Thursday.
There's obviously, I mean, I've talked to a bunch of people at the con about this, and you guys a lot about this. That there were a lot of viable MCs. It
Facts.
was what I say what you want about formats. The one nice thing about the formats is that it limits the choices. So like you don't have to plan against everything. I felt like with this one you kind of have to plan against everything. So
Facts.
we all talked about this and we tried to go with stuff that's consistent and kind of good no matter what. And someone who's pretty much good no matter what is this guy right here, Adam Warlock.
Oh, he
You
brought the
hit,
cards out.
no big deal.
Hey,
Um,
Norm.
no, so I mean, we all know this that if you don't put him down, he's a 5/5 flyer, and most mains he can hit them once or twice, and if you do put him down, well, you're not going to put him down for another couple turns at least. He's going to try to blow up your board, which is what I was trying to do. I threw in the Sentinel package so I could have some control, Soul Gem so I could ban stuff that was really dangerous to me, and then some heavy hitters up top, Agamotto, Namor, and what's his name, Nimrod. I was like a little worried about it because like I know it did have some bad matchups, like some turn four alt wins if they drew really well. I was not going to win that, but yeah, no, it did better than I thought it was going to
That's what's up. You thought you was gonna do better than third, bro?
do.
Like, no, I'm fucking with you. But yeah, that when we were, because if everybody didn't know, we all built our decks together. Like, we didn't come with the concept that we're all gonna build one deck and then run it. We essentially build our decks together to our own play styles. So when we were going and we were tested against each other, I couldn't beat this deck. Like I couldn't. With the deck that I brought, I had difficulty, but it was like one of those things where like, nah, I'm not gonna win. So, great deck. Really liked it. I hated playing against it. I'm glad I didn't have to play you at all. um, so I'll quickly just go over my deck. Nobody likes my deck, including myself. Like it's a it's a tool of trades deck. A lot of people thought that this was just a Valkyrie deck. It's not. Like, not only do I have Valkyrie in there, which is yeah the main focus of the deck, but I also have Red Skull, Monarch, Tony Stark. Frank Drake was doing work. Frank Drake KO'd so many people that
Yeah.
people forgot that he had lethal. Like, that's how bad it was. And then when I went up against some of the evil decks, he was ramming. He took out like three Quicksilvers over the course of the weekend with when he had the equipment on him. So people were not happy about that. The Exorcist gun. So really, the star of my deck, believe it or not, is. I mean, it's obviously Monarch. I mean, I was gonna try to give it to Red Skull, but it's obviously Monarch. Like, I had a lock where I think Steve. I forgot who. Yeah, Steve. Steve. I was playing against Steve, and Red Skull just was like, "No, you're not drawing cards," and he ended up running out because not only did I have Dark Phoenix, so I blew up all his face down resources. Then I have Red Skull saying you can't draw, so he went down to 5, then he went down to 2, and then he couldn't draw anymore, and that was just my win con at that point. So, well,
I remember Bert was singing his praises early on the Red Skull, and like people were like, I mean, he's got one health, and like, do you really want him as like a closer and stuff? But even if they take out your Valkyrie and stuff, if they can't draw any cards and Red Skull's the biggest thing on the field, like they're gonna lose.
Red Skull with a weapon. Yeah,
Yeah,
Red Skull was shooting from the hip and he was taking out Dark Phoenix. Like it was not a problem. So,
yeah.
but that's a little over. That's a deck profile for you guys. We're gonna we're gonna get into this questionnaire because we came prepared. I didn't want this to be, just sit across from each other and talk about our decks and how good we are. But first I want to talk to you, Jose, because we just talked our asses off, and I would like to take a sip. What is your most memorable match outside of top eight?
Mm, outside of top eight.
Is there?
So I'm gonna go with day one, round one. Played a new player. He was playing Pixie Max,
Oh yeah.
and he went off on me on turn 4 or 5. And I have a lot of hate in my deck, but he just naturally do 4 yellows, naturally played Pixie with the blue, and then said 4 yellows, and he said I win, and then I was like, okay, that's good.
Set the
That's
tone
something.
for the whole tournament right there.
I'm like, that's it was like because we all flew in Thursday morning. I
Yeah.
had an hour of sleep, so I was tired. I was cold in the first match, and I'm like nervous, first round of the tournament. And the first thing, it wasn't even a game. It was just me sitting there slapping him a few times. But at the end of the day, all he was just stalling till Pixie Max, and he just naturally got on turn 5. And I was like, okay, not even other support characters. Okay,
Oh my
that's
god, I remember
I'm
that guy.
starting for the rest of the tournament.
I remember that guy because I played him. I played him day one too, and I was sitting across from him, and I was like, "This guy has nothing else in his deck. It's literally just Pixie Max. I am on a clock."
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
That,
exactly what it is.
oh
Oh
man.
man, that was brutal.
Yeah. What about you,
Yeah,
Pat? What was your?
we talked about that. We were all scared of decks like that. It's because it's
Yeah.
like we had strategies against it, but you have to you can't just hate on that. You have to have hate for that, but also your win con. And if your win con isn't that same combo, like you need a top end and stuff. So it's just yeah, they can high roll you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
For
Yeah.
sure. And then, like, I have a lot of hate in my deck. My deck hates, and I drew none of it. So
Right.
that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about how your deck is basically a hate crime.
Mhm.
It is.
Yo, big facts, bro. Like you, everybody hated your deck. Well, I hated your deck. That's for damn sure. But what about you, Pat? What's your most memorable match outside of top eight?
Let me see. I'm looking at him right now. Let me see. Is it without trying to take up too much time? Can I do like a quick run through of my matches,
Yeah,
like
go
one
for it.
liner? So first, like my very first match, I faced John and Phillips. It's like, I mean, you never want to go against like the multi-regional champion on like the first round.
Yeah,
And
facts.
he did the deep. He ramped super fast, dropped Chronica, and then just obliterated my resources. It was terrible. And then he faced he spun some stuff from the bottom once he leveled up. He faced one of the only outs I could have played. Like I think he faced Trask. I was like, well, that's a loss. Round two, I played Ralph. Ralph was playing Kingpin, and I was like he's definitely gonna level. Like I just can't hit him fast enough because I know he's gonna have defensive stuff. He's gonna have Wasp. He's gonna have Iceman. That's exactly what he had. He managed to level up, but then he just wasn't drawing that well.
No.
His hand was just characters and plot twists, but like he wasn't drawing the big eight pieces. So I think he actually managed to Maximus me, but I had used I had this lady right here who was one of my MVP, Shadowcat, as a hound.
Hey.
So I managed to I'd done enough wounds to him that it was pretty close, and then he tried to get me. I Shadowcatted him, and then I think I got him for the last wound. It was a nail biter. Shouts out to Ralph.
Oh, wait,
King was always good.
I'm sorry. Did you get Maximist and still won? Yo, bro, I'm sorry.
I think I did, and I was if he had Prowler maxed me, it would have been over. But I don't. He did. I don't think he had. I don't think he drew Prowler, so he was able to regular Maximus me, which still sucked.
Yo, I'm sorry. That's high level gameplay. If somebody Maximuses you and you still win, yeah, you deserve the top just off of that. Like, I'm sorry.
No, he, in honesty, again, shout out to him. He just like he wasn't drawing his finishers, and I was like, I feel bad. Let me see. Who after that? Who did I play? I played Diego's brother, David. He was playing Sylvie, and he had some tricks in there, but like he wasn't drawing what he needed, so I won against him. But it was fun meeting him, and he's a great guy, great player.
Big facts. Big
And then
facts.
actually, this is one of my memorable matches. I faced Colby. Colby, like I've never played Colby
Uh,
before. I know he's very good. His reputation precedes him. And I right before I faced him, I was like, Jose, give me the skinny here. What is the winning strategy? And you were like, just punch him with Adam. And I was like, all right, I'm
facts.
hitting with Adam. So I put 3 wounds on him, and then he levels up. He went to like knock me off level 1 to level 2, but I had a savage surprise, so I did the 4th wound to him, which he didn't expect. And then when I got Dark Phoenix, I called superpowers. He couldn't hide anymore, and I was able to finish him off. But I mean, he had me sweating bullets. I was like, this. There's like he's got all his deck has all sorts of shenanigans in it.
He was playing that Ghost Spider deck, right?
Yeah, Ghost
Yeah.
Spider with Maximus, and then I think he had Dark Phoenix. He had a bunch of
Yeah.
win
Probably,
conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curious,
I will say,
Kobe.
you mentioned it, Pat. The Savage Surprise in Warlock might be the best tech of the entire tournament.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I can't
It
lie.
actually has so much utility. You're just like, this doesn't make sense until you start like thinking of the matchups, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, that Savage Surprise
props
came
for that
in
one, man.
handy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no. Shout out to. I know you were gonna give him a shout out later. Shout out to Ralph Edwards. Like the right night before. I was like, yo, would you test some games with me quick? Like, I want to just get a feel for like some changes I made. He was like, dude, you should throw some Savage in there. I was like,
Yo,
yep, yep.
Ralph is good for that, man. He's good for those one card texts. He was like, "You should just run this," and he just says it so passively, and you're just sitting there like,
Oh,
"That's
yeah, he
so
knows what's
true.
up.
That's so true." He just has a natural thought for the game. But yeah, but go ahead, continue. Get your thing on.
Oh, it's a big part for against me because Mystique, I rely on Adam Warlock not being able to double stun with me.
Yeah,
And then if you attack me Savage and me, I'm like, I get a few XP, but not enough. And
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Let me see. After that was actually Osh, Friendly Fire.
Yeah.
It's like I knew that if you popped off, I mean, there's nothing I can do against that. I forget. I think you were drawing straight trash. Like you drew 1 yellow in the first like 6 turns. I was like, oh no, that's not what you want to see. And
Yeah.
like I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, it's just what Hector and I when we would test back in the day, we call that a non-representative game.
Yeah.
It's just, that game doesn't happen, and it happened, and so I managed to win that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I had 3 of those games over the course of the tournament. One was against you, and 2 was against Jose.
I remember that second game, like you were like right before you mulligan, you showed me your hand, and it was like 3 dramatic entries. And I was like,
No, it was 4-4. It was all 4.
oh, it's all four? Oh, shit.
I was like 4 copies of dramatic entrance and like a wasp. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm sitting this back.
Like, this is a sign. It's not meant to be.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Let me see. After Osh, I faced Mitch, and I told Mitch after the game, like I had a fun one liner for him, but I was like, I'm not going to tell him until after the game because if I say a cool one liner and I lose, you look like an ass. But after the game, I told him I was like, Mitch, I knew going into this, like I didn't know if I could beat you, but I said to myself, I'm going to put another white streak in his hair. That's what I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to make him work for this. I forget. I honestly, I forget exactly how it went, but he did all 4 prowlers with his ghost spider, so he drew 4 extra cards. He definitely hit 2 on the runs. I was like, this guy's just running away with it. I think I managed to MCA like a Prowler or MCA a Maximus, and I was hitting him. He didn't draw into his queens, and so I was able to get the dub over him. But it was, I mean, Mitch is, gosh, he's such a nice
Yeah.
guy, and he's such a good player. Like anytime I sit down online or in person, I'm like, I'm already sweating. I'm already
Yeah.
sweating.
Mitch is it's funny. Like I had when I first came back because I played originally when it first dropped. I played versus it was me and Ralph. I know Ralph from like way back. And when I came back, Mitch was actually one of the first people that I sat across from online, obviously because it was COVID. And I was like, "Yo, this guy's got some skill. Like I don't understand why his decks work." And that to me tells me that he put in time because
Yeah,
there's no way that me coming from competitive card, I mean, they're competitive card games, you know what I'm saying? I take a look at a deck and I'm like, I don't understand it, but it works. Like
yeah.
that's ridiculous. Mitch is. I
Yeah,
give the utmost respect to Mitch.
he's definitely someone who sees the Matrix. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like it's zeros and ones, and Mitch is like, listen, dude, that's a girl in a red dress. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. That's bad. And oh yeah, because you top day one, so you didn't have to go through the struggle that me and Jose had to go through.
Yeah, I think day one I was like this. I was like, guys, let me know when we get to Sunday.
I remember we were playing, and I think it was like one of the last rounds, and I'm sitting there, I'm just like stressed. I see Pat coming by. He's like eating a hot dog or something. He was like, "What's up, guys? How you doing?" Like, oh, what the fuck?
It was good. And then
uh,
my last round was against Earl, who was like, shouts out to Earl. He's like, Ghost Spider's good, but it's even better playing Scarlet Spider, so I can
what?
continue to search the 4-drop Prowler. I was like, this is crazy.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, good. Like these guys took this Scarlet Spider idea and just said, "Yeah, we're gonna run with it." Like, I think we, as a collective, we decided we were like, we don't think Timbu Ba is gonna be at the tournament because we didn't see this. If we would have saw this, we all of us day one Timbu Ba, like
Yeah.
no easy, right? I'm actually really surprised that apparently a lot of people knew about this and they didn't bring Timbu Ba. Like that makes no sense to me because that Timbu Ba literally KOs this deck. And I think that's literally how Ashley won against every single one of these Scarlet Spiders. She mulliganed for Timbu Ba and just left him in the back.
Yeah,
Right.
and then they cloak. You're putting pluses on you, minuses on them. They can't get to them, and they just die. Yeah,
Yeah, like you either win on time because let's face it, by turn 4 you have 4 wounds because you can't get an XP until turn 3. So it's like
yeah,
you're just gonna lose. So
I
yeah.
hate to say it, but that's exactly the finals. Me versus Mitch.
yeah.
After I found out about the deck, I'm like, I got Tim. And every game, I was like, that's my mulligan condition
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, that's why I was when it came down to it and we were going over decks and stuff like that, when we were looking at the top 8 decks, none of us looked at Mitch's because we were all like, yeah, Timbu Ba. Like that's it. That's all you need. And I know Pat was just like, well, I got to figure something out. But Jose was just looking at it like, yeah, Timbu Ba. I mulligan for Timbu Ba. Even if I get Timbu Ba on turn 2, I win. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to fight through that, especially if you have someone up front who's defending him.
Yeah.
If it's Dark Phoenix, like she's obviously ramping, but like she's a 3/3, nothing outside of dramatic entrance. But like Ghost Spider has a butt.
Yep.
Mystique has a butt. Like you can't get through them.
Yeah, if you're not flying, and if you're trying to fly over to Mystique, you're just saying thanks for the level up. I appreciate it. Oh God, I'm so upset that you found that combo before I did. Anyway,
Yeah. So I was saying Earl had a sweet deck, and I was like, I misplayed an MCA, and I was like this close to beating Earl and being 6-1 instead of 5-2, but 5-2, and so I went to Sunday.
yeah, you still hit top. Like that's all that really mattered on day one, right? Hey
Yeah.
yo, what's up? What's up, Team Apex FT Dub? Don't forget that all the rounds are listed on an upper deck tournament. Yeah, we know we're just shooting from the hip, bro. That's just how we do
Yeah.
it.
No,
Right.
thank you guys for letting us know that. They actually when they did their recap, they were talking about that site, and I
Yep.
messaged them. I was like, "Yo, what was that website again?" Yeah, I gotta remember my match. Doing a recap.
Oh yeah. So and Ralph hit up the chat. What's up, Ralph? He said auto include an all incursion list, bro. Get that out of here. Like we're trying to go to Ohio. You better delete that comment, bro.
No. I see Jose's refilling. I too am going to refill. We're going with the Stone Brewery, Buena Salt and Lime Lager. There we go.
Hey,
Uh,
he's a multi.
like,
Hold on, hold that up again, real quick. I just want to see it again. Look
Yeah.
at that. Ooh, that's a nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice can, bro. You
This
got
is
some.
actually, this is legit good beer too. It's called, let me see, the Buena Vesa. There we go.
Yeah, Pat's over here. You got some nice cans. Yeah. All right.
Well
So,
done. Well done.
but yeah. So I'll just give you guys a quick overview. Like you guys already know, my deck is hot garbage. What I
no.
what I feel my most memorable. Actually, you know what? I know exactly what it is. My man's. You know what? I should have been looking for this as I was talking. I forgot his name, but he played on We played on Friday. I want to say his name was Corey. Yes, because he got ninth. So Corey, he posted in versus 2PG Facebook, and he was like, "Hey, learning the game on Thursday. I want to play in the tournament on Friday. Somebody build me a deck." He listed out everything that he had, and I was just like, he's willing to buy two small sets. All right, so I told him to pick up Lethal Protector and Maximum Carnage, and I was like, just put like play Venom, put everything that has symbiosis in the deck. Funny enough, that's not the right way to build Venom, right? Like we all know there's specific ones that you have to build. So I did give him a good jumping point. I didn't give him the bag. You know what I'm saying? Because if I would have gave him the bag,
You gave him like just if you're picking it up and just trying to get something going like that, that is a good place. Like Venom's a top tier MC.
absolutely. I'm just saying hi to Sarah. Everybody, hey, hi.
Howdy.
Hold on. Sorry, what? No, they can't. They can't see you, babe. Love you.
She's like, wrap it up.
We can see everything.
Yeah, right. No, but yeah, I forgot which round it was, but we sat across from each other, and I was like, "Oh man, this is either gonna be really cool or it's gonna be really bad. Either way, this is gonna be awesome." But we sat across from each other, and I'll be perfectly honest, I had to win in my opening hand. I saw what I had. I was like, he can't stop this because I know what's in his deck, right? But he beat me up turns 1 through 4, and then I popped off with Valkyrie, and I discussed everything, and I was sitting across from him, and as I was going to into Venom's last wound, I also had the Red Skull lock in my hand, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this, and he said, just do it. I want to see it happen. Do it. So I got out. I had put down
Know what you're
Monarch.
asking for.
Yeah, right. Like he was just like, yeah, just do it. I was like, all right. So I had played Monarch the turn before, then I had played Red Skull. I got all the cards out of his hand. Then I leveled up with DP because I ramped. After I ramped with DP, I blew up all his resources. So he went down to 2 resources. He had no hand, and all his guys were face down. And that was his last wound. And I was like, welcome to Versus. Yeah, but he was a real cool guy, man. He actually ended up taking ninth. Like that was crazy. He literally threw a Venom deck together and said, "I'm
Yeah.
taking ninth."
I might have to pay Bert a royalty for this, but I'm going to say the poets clap for him. Bert did that on one of his podcasts. I was like, this is some of the funniest shit I've heard in a while. I've not heard that terminology before.
Oh my god, yo! If you guys haven't, if you haven't listened to it, man, go listen to the New York Minute. That's Bert's podcast on Spotify. The New York NY Minute. He is he goes really good into tournament in depth stuff, and I actually listen to it all the time. Don't tell him I said that because he gets a big head. He thinks he's hot shit.
Set
But
reviews are great.
Totally
Hard by
agree.
call. Set reviews.
yeah,
I totally agree. But Bert, if you're listening, I heard the Gen Con recap. It was 3 minutes long. I was so excited. I was like, hey, it's Bert's recap. The man gives some great thought, and then I was like, wait, 2 minutes 40 something. This must just be the introduction, but that was the whole thing.
yo,
I was
man,
sad.
I
He
know
wants more. We want more, Bert.
we want more of Bert. Because at the end of the day, Bert is a mad scientist. He just
Hmm.
has the same problem that I have. When I sit down for tough matches, I apparently don't shuffle. I put every card I need at the bottom of the deck. Whenever I sit across from somebody who's really, really, I'm going like, damn, this is fucking tough. All yellows at the bottom, all Valkyries at the bottom, all Jungle Hunters at the bottom. Every single time. Every single time. It never fails. But yeah, man, that was actually my favorite match because I got to see somebody who actually really thoroughly enjoyed the game, and he's a competitive player. I think he plays legendary, and a competitive player sit across from me from something I helped him build, and just he beat a lot of people. He came in ninth. He's the reason I have that card. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
man. He was like, I mean, like, he was playing sleeper.
Yeah,
He was playing the worst symbiote, one of the worst symbiotes in his deck. He was still clowning people.
yeah, yeah. So real talk. This is a real question. If he just picked up the game and built Venom and took ninth, if he would have took eighth, would Venom then automatically be? Cause it's incursion.
Would he be incurred? Would he have to
Well, no,
win?
I'm saying a brand new player only played the game like twice before. Come in
Oh,
and get eighth.
yeah, you're saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be a debate of like Venom's skill versus his skill.
He still has skill though, because if I from what I understand, he places in a lot of legendary tournaments. So shout out Corey,
Mhm.
my man's.
Yep.
Shout out to you.
Sure.
All right,
You
so let's jump into this. So Jose, who
sir.
were you most scared of to face in top? Let's look at the two. Let's look at our top list because somebody dropped on Thursday. Blah. If you
Mm,
get you. All right. Well, we'll do you. So we got Marcellus, Mr. 7-0. Was he set was it was 7, right?
yeah, he was 7-0 that day.
How
No,
Wow.
no,
stupid.
no, no big deal.
Yeah, right. He just walked into day 2 like meh,
Yeah.
whatever. So who are you most scared of?
There was only one person in the top 8 looking at all the deck lists that I was like, I'm screwed if I go against her. And that was Ashley. It's Cloak and Dagger. Don't get me wrong. All these other matchups and all these other players, great. Would any one of them would be tough, of course. But the only one I'm just like, I don't think I can stand the early aggression was Cloak and Dagger.
I
Any
lit
other any of the other ones, I have plans. I'm like, it's as I said, tough matchups, but I can win them, right?
guy.
It's just not gonna be like back and forth, right? But her, I was like, please no, please, Aaron, please beat her.
I was like, "Oh my god, I need somebody to take her out cuz I can't do it." I
Well,
was like,
it was. I told her this. I told her it was a brilliant strategy. They can't be pixie maxed easily. They can't be maxed, prowler maxed easily.
Yep.
She had Scarlet Witch in there. Shout out to Scarlet Witch. That's another card that Bert
yes.
hypes. Like, you can't level. You're probably gonna lose. Then she had Tim Booba. She had what's his name? Devil Slayer. Like, I mean, she had some aggro. She had some hate. Just like the perfect combinations of both of them,
Facts.
and she was knocking people.
Facts.
Hmm.
Like in all honesty, I everybody in top 8, I was like, I have a chance against most of these people. I can't beat Cloak and Dagger. Period. It's
Well, there you
bad.
go. LGD, our kryptonite is Ashley and Cloak and Dagger. There we go.
Don't publicize that, bro. We still going to Gen Con next year. All right.
No man can beat us.
There you
No
go.
man.
Oh man.
There you go. There you go. Shout out to Ash, yo. Shout out to Ash and Aaron. They're actually
Yep.
like some really cool people. I got to hang out with them last year. Fucking awesome. All right. Pat, who are you most scared of to face? So I got your top list. Oh my god, look at you got killers in your list.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. It was like such a brutal list. I mean, so I was a little afraid of everyone in Dragon. I mean, there wasn't any one person where I was like, oh shit. I was like, everyone I'm a little nervous about. But the funny thing was like, so the loss against Earl could have easily been a win. Like I said, I misplayed an MCA, taking nothing away from Earl in his deck.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a match I should have won, and like I lost. Hats off to him. But like my first round match against John Phillips, he shellacked me. I mean, there was like it was like someone almost called the cops. Like, I mean, it was quite the beating. So when I get matched up against him first round in the top 16, I guess I was most scared of facing him. I was like, this is terrible. It's going. I really don't want this to be a repeat. But what happened was, the first game, like I said, he stuck a Chronica, and just like she
Oh,
ruined me. But the second game, he was ramping, but I was also able to ramp a little bit quicker. And when he got a couple of different Chronicas out, but I was able to Trask one, I was able to Zorn another. He couldn't keep Chronica out, and as a result, I won game one, and then I forget exactly how game two went, but I think it was kind of more the same. He was trying to put pieces out, I was able to. I think at one point he threw out a Surtur, and he was going to try to start
oh.
wrecking my row, and I was able to MCA him, and so he wasn't able to do stuff. It was yeah, it worked out, but I was definitely a little sweaty going into that match.
Oh, let's Phillips always has like the weirdest decks. Like I never understand what the hell they do, but they work, so I have to respect the tech. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand 90% of the stuff that he does, but kudos to that mofo.
I did want misspeak one thing. So the I faced him in the top 8. In the top, my first match was actually against Peter Madison, and shout out to him. He was telling me like this is the first time he's ever like played a big versus tournament. It's like the first time he's like I think he said he's topped in a card game tournament. The man was running Liu Kang. I said to him afterwards like sometimes I look at a deck and I like don't know what the fuck is going on, and it's like garbage.
Right.
Other times there are decks I look at and I don't know what the fuck is going on, and it's like super good, and like I wish I knew what was going on because it's about to beat my face in. And his was like one of those ones where I looked at it and I was like, he's got a bunch of good cards in. I'm not really sure how this worked. I kind of tested with Ash. I tested with Ralph. You guys were running the deck. The proxy I built, and I was like, now I see it. Now I see it. Yeah, there's a couple. He's got not only does he have good lines, but he's got a couple solid backup plans. And game one, I was able to Soul Gem Raiden, which like is kind of unlikely given his deck and my deck. But I was able to Soul Gem Raiden, and so I was able to beat him. Then the second game he leveled up. I was like, oh, here comes the boom. But I was able to Soul Gem not Raiden, but I was able to Soul Gem some of his top end. So he was having a lot of trouble flipping at him. And so by the time he was able to flip me, I had a big board, and Liu Kang was just taking hits left and right.
I remember that. I remember you gave me that deck and I was playing against you and I was just looking at it. I was like, yeah, he can't flip you without Doppelganger and a top. Like, he can't do it. Because even if he recruited Raiden, Raiden gets removed from the game. I don't think he ever appears.
He I think he technically appears, but it's like if I can manage his board before that,
Yeah.
he puts down the 8-drop, and if that doesn't flip me, immediately that 8-drop goes away. So he's not going to flip me like that turn, and then like it's tough for him to flip without a big top end, and he
Right.
didn't have like a huge top end. Like Raiden and leveling was his top end.
I got you. I got you. So just hitting up the chat real quick. Yeah, Mitch, we all had a big fear of Kobe because like we understand what Kobe can do. Also, if you look at Kobe's deck list, it's like the neatest handwriting I've ever seen in my life. Like look at this. Even his scratches, if you look at it like where he scratched out Jessica Jones, like it's a neat scratch out. What the anyway. Um
I see this.
it's like the
By the way,
neatest it's the
Hector
neatest deck
Perez,
list.
Hector's asking where's the booze. It's right here, my man. And
Hey,
these kings are done.
yeah, Jose is the champ, so my man's over here. Hey, double fisted. Am I the only person
I
that's
did.
here?
I run through one. I got the other one ready, so no worries.
Nah.
We're good.
Oh my god, yo, the chat is going live right now. Hey, yo, Hector, what's up? Yo, shout out to Hector on some real, cause Hector is like a real G. He's old school. He used to play original verse with us, bro.
He played original verses, and he's also old school. Let's Get Dangerous. Little known fact. Hector was in on the ground floor in Let's Get Dangerous. Way back in QC3, he and I were like, "Yo, we should play this. We need a third." And Osh, we were playing with Osh. We were playing a while. We were like, "We got to get this guy." We brought him in, and I was like, "You guys were nice enough to let me run with like the Let's Get Dangerous and like a Darkwing Duck mantra." But you're like, "All right, fine, whatever, Pat." I was like, "Yes."
Pat was like, "Yeah, we got it."
And apparently, at one moment, he left for whatever reasons, and then you're like, we need to replace him with another Hispanic guy.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
We were missing
I
our
was
mofongo.
He's a Puerto Rican like Hector is, but like he's Latin. Let's get him in there. Let's get him in there.
Yes, we know
Close
we
enough.
could. We know we could type our deck list. We're just lazy. We're not doing it.
Yeah, that takes too much effort.
Yeah.
Honestly, my deck lists are always evolving like 5 minutes before they're due. So you'll see my deck list. There's something's crossed out and then put in. Happens all the time.
I copy all my deck list from Versus System TCG player. Plug, Versus System TCG player. Plug. Nah. All right, so let's move on. So, did you guys think any of the top 8 decks were better than your decks?
No and yes. Like, no deck in this format can beat everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like to think of it as all the decks were different, right? There was none that I thought was better. There was none that I really thought was worse, unless you just randomly got 60 random cards and put them together. But all the top 16 decks were
All right, all right. Politically correct guy, you're done. Pat, do you? Do you
Fair enough.
think any decks were
I
better
looked.
than yours?
I will say that looking at Colby's and Mitch's decks, I was like, these things are works of art.
Mm,
Like they each had like three win cons. Like Mitch had two 4-drop prowlers. I was like, only two, but he had two 4-drop prowlers. He had Maximus. He had Dark Phoenix. He had Thanos. He had
yeah,
Namor. I'm
yeah.
just like when he and I played in the top four, like the first game, I like got on a roll. I told him this. I told him that. But like the other games we played, I was like trying to pick out what's the next threat coming my way. Like, and if I choose right, I'm good. But if I'm probably gonna choose wrong. Odds are I'm gonna choose wrong. He had a lot of answers, and my hat's off to him. He does that with most of his decks. There's like two, if not three, win cons in every one of his decks.
Facts, big facts. So if I had to say, out of our top eight, Friday, Pat. If I had to say out of our top eight, I think, and I'm actually just gonna put it out there, even though I wiped the floor with him. We'll get into that later. I think Ralph Cole's deck was actually really good, and the reason why I think it's good, I think he was missing maybe one or two key pieces, but he played off one of the things that I love to play off of, and that's hope. Hope is just like, "Nyeh, nyeh, 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 give me it all. I want it all."
Yeah.
And he had the multiple man out there, so he was able to go get more hopes. And then multiple man had quick draw, multiple man had genius. So all the copies that he had of hope had quick draw, genius. There was times where I had to like tell him like, bro, you if you miss this genius trigger, I'm not gonna tell you, and it's gone because like
No,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, because he was drawing like four or five cards a turn. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Couldn't keep up with it. At one
You
point,
know, so I think the community as a whole, all like from midwinter, we all know that Diego and Ralph, it's a little of this. Like, it's a mutual respect, but there's like a little of this going on. And I caught the tail end. I think it was a Friday when Ralph and Diego went toe to toe. And I don't know exactly. I think Ralph won the match. I don't know exactly what I
uh,
walked into, but I walked by just as Um, I think Diego was saying something effective like, I don't know if that deck can kind of like hang in like the top eight or something like that. And Ralph was saying something like, "Well, apparently it hung just now." I was like, "Oh no, oh no, so much shots fired."
oh my god! But hold on. I'm sorry, Ralph. I have to say this. But did Diego call it? Cause that was round one when I beat him. That was top eight initial round. I was like, "What's up, bro? How you doing? Thanks for the dub. I'll go see your teammate now." No, but shout out to Ralph Cole. I actually really liked his deck. I think it needed like one or two pieces to like put it over the edge and really just have a lock. But good, kudos to you.
You mean I'm gonna say four stands together, Ralph. Four, not
Yes,
one, not
yes.
two, not three. Four. If you're going loyalty, four. If you could fit eight in the deck, you put in eight.
In
But
fact, if you just want to have like a good 50 stand togethers in your deck, do that
yeah,
because
one main character, 60 stand togethers, you're fine. Yep.
absolutely.
Nothing they can do. Nothing they can do.
All right, so let's talk about so after we made top, all of us, thank you. Congratulations again. After we made top, what was your prep like what was your mindset for prep? We'll start with Pat since he topped first.
My main thing was like I looked at I knew who it was it Peter. I knew I was gonna face Peter, and I kind of like loosely looked at the other decks, but I was like, I gotta know this guy's deck inside and out. Like I like if I'm gonna go to the top 16, like it's got to be quickly to the top eight. And so that was the one I looked at the most. And like I said, I on the first pass I was like, I don't really know what's going on here. And on the second pass I was like, oh shit, there's like a lot going on here. um, now, some of those boys cards are really good. He put them in there, and they worked really well with Liu Kang. Jose knows I was very close to playing Liu Kang myself.
Mm,
I was just really worried about like if you can take care of Raiden, like if you can molder it, if you can soul gem it or something like that, he doesn't win. But if you can't, he probably does win. And so it's just like I think we referred to what is his name, Joseph, as like it's a tough win a level up. But if you get there, he's a big scary T Rex. And
yeah.
that's Liu Kang, scary T Rex. And so like I didn't want to play him. The thing that was kind of rough with him too is that if I like ideally you would call levels with him if you play Dark Phoenix, but like with Adam, I can't call levels.
No.
Calling levels is me losing. And so like I really wanted to call levels, but I could not call levels. I think I when I played him I called keywords to shut down his +1 and his air superiority so I could start hitting him. But even then he's still 12-12 with 7 wounds, and he's got the Thunder God. He can wound characters for a yellow. So I focused heavily on that match, and then I was when I like I said when I went against John Phillips in the round 2 of like the Sunday, I was like, sweet.
Hey yo, hold on, real quick. Shout out to Dawson. Ain't no sunshine when she's home. Yeah, all right, Dawson. I see you, bro.
Singing.
All right. So what about Jose? Talk to me about your prep, your mindset when you found out you was getting hit top.
Yeah, I want to hit top 16. So, oh no, we lost Patrick.
Yeah, he went
No,
dark.
I'm replenishing the beer.
There we go.
So when we hit, or what we did,
Yeah, it was
team
we.
effort.
It was
Yeah,
definitely
it was we got that top 16. I wasn't prepared for the deck, right?
we. Mm,
That came out of nowhere, and I think everyone I talked to that night, because I was trying to get people together for SummerSlam, the WWE event that night. Let's go out, watch wrestling, grab beers. But as soon as those deck lists come out, I think everyone was just like, "No, we're going to our hotel rooms."
facts.
And yep.
Yeah.
So for me, it was I went back to my hotel room with my friends, Diego and David, and I know everyone is talking to their friends, their teammates. They're trying to see what they can do. And for me, it honestly is my brother. He is the one who helped me with the Mystique deck from like him, the one who him and I put the initial build, and you guys were like testing buddies and all that, and gave great
Bring him to
insight.
Gen Con. You gotta bring his ass to Gen Con because he whooped my ass too.
I'm trying to get him to go to Ohio, so we'll see.
Okay.
But no promises. But so I called him and I'm like, I got deck list, and I just text him screenshots of all the deck list, and we literally went through every deck list and came up with strategies uh, for every one of them.
Nice.
So I'm like, all right, we'll be this, and then I just need this and that. This one, avoid this. And the cool thing, anyone who actually has met my brother, they say that him and I are very similar. The way we talk, the way we think, the way we act, like absolutely everything about us, even though we're 5 years apart. So when we run through ideas, like we both know where we're going with it. And so that was it. Like that was the big thing. Him and I went through everything, and it was a while of preparation, but that was it for me.
Jose's like, actually, fun fact, I'm actually my brother. Holy shit!
Yeah, right. Imagine he's like, haha, you guys thought. No,
Just one more just walks in right now.
yeah, right. It's just a clone. And he's actually who played day 2. Like, no.
Yeah.
But
It was like those twins who were playing on day 2. What brothers are those?
Yeah, right.
I don't know their name, but they were playing a Sister Grimm combo.
Yeah. Hold on, I
Yeah.
can tell you real quick. So this is day 2. Oh, what were their names? Was it? It wasn't Scott. Was it Joe? It wasn't Joseph and Brian, was it? No.
Last name?
And we Weeble belts.
I only have the top 20 here. Never mind. I don't remember what place they came in, but I do remember that they kind of got massacred a little bit, unfortunately. Um, for
Yeah, no,
me,
they had a cool deck idea, and it's
yep,
just in a field with boomerang and like dazing figures, it's tough to keep your main character in Dutch face up.
right.
If there wasn't a bunch of days, or like it was a format where there wasn't like it wasn't the boomerangs, like they could very well clean up if like killing the attacking them is the only option, and Sister Grimm says no attacks.
Oh yeah, big facts.
Yeah.
For me, was Blood and Guts immediately after on Friday? It was, right?
100%. That day was exhausting.
Yeah, so I think after I topped, scooped from left to right on my last one, and I immediately shuffled up Blood and Guts. Like I was like, yo, I'm here to play verses. I'm gonna play verses. So, but after Blood and Guts, I think because I got knocked out of that. I think Blood and Guts was they didn't do full. They did do full round robin. It was the other one. But I
4 rounds.
essentially, yeah, it was 4 rounds. I
This
essentially
was
was like, I can't stop. Like if I stop, I'm gonna crash and then I will miss hours at this con. So I was like, I'm gonna go play werewolf. I'm gonna enjoy as much Gen Con as I can right now. And that's how I did it last year. Last year I was up till like 2, 3 in the morning, dodging cars on the highway and taking video of yeah, like last year was crazy. So
Yeah, I
crazy.
remember that.
But yeah, so I was up until like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning on Friday night. And oh yeah, so Dawson saying you're supposed to go watch SummerSlam before we top. Yeah, man, if you top, it is what it is. Hey, what's up, Iman? Boop boop. Shout out to Thunder
Oh, here he
Pals.
is.
Yeah, so after I would say I think after I won a couple of rounds of werewolf, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna pass out. And then Saturday there was another one. That was the ladders and
AEW.
chairs match. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. I don't, man. Everybody having fearless. Come on. Whoever goes
That was
first wins, bro. Like that's just what it was. like,
Quick
but that
side note: so I did the Taiwan beer, I did the San Diego beer, and now I'm going weird for the last one. Speculoos cookie butter beer. It's really good.
oh, hold on, wait, hold that, keep holding that up. That looks
Yeah.
good.
Have you guys had Speculoos from Trader Joe's before? This is the beer that's made by the company, and it tastes excellent.
I like that. I like that. Good plug. Good plug.
I
So
love
yeah.
these beers now that Patrick's got. Like, I mean, it's got some horrible doodles, but like,
Yeah, yeah,
Patrick's
yeah.
beers, I'm like, I'm gonna go find these after this.
Wait,
It's
wait.
the only
Hold
beer
hold that up
seen
again.
as a warning that contains lactose and coconut.
Oh wait, wait.
Yeah,
Jose, hold that up again. Hold your drawing up again. We gotta
this
see
I
this.
don't even know what that was, but
What
that's the
is
ADD
that?
taking over.
Oh my god,
Beer.
that's the most Spanish thing I've ever seen in my life. All right. So yeah, so basically I looked at the deck list and I was like, I I saw in my bracket I had Marcellus, who Mr. Dust Off Your Shoulder, and I also had Ralph Cole. I actually had to look up Ralph Cole's MC. I had no idea what she did. And after I looked her up, I saw she was like a 5-1 or something. I was like, oh, I have Wasp. All right, cool. And then I was like, he's mono. Wait, he's mono and only running 3 stand togethers. Oh, okay. So I figured the only way Ralph was gonna beat me is if he drew all 3 of his stand togethers. Like there was just no way. And I figured that Marcellus, if I got to him, the only way I was gonna beat him is I had to like Jedi mind trick him or hope that he didn't get his stand togethers and he didn't play it right. So we'll get into that later. So that was just
Okay.
my prep. Like my prep was basically just like I see the decks I have to go against. I need somebody to beat Ashley. Um, and I knew Jose's deck. I knew that like if I went up against him, I, it was just gonna be if he drew it, he drew it. If he didn't, he didn't. Like that's just what it was. So yeah. So actually, I already went into my next Subway topic. What was your mindset going into top eight? Like, were you confident? Were you uh, worried about a very specific matchup, or did you just think you were gonna run and get to top four, Pat?
Like I said, it was gonna be it was John Phillips, and I was like worried that we are gonna have a repeat. But I mean, to take nothing away from him, he definitely got like a good draw on me
Mm,
in our first round of Swiss on day one. And I was like, he's a good player and he's got a good deck. So, but like, let's
facts.
see. I think he will probably draw a little bit worse, and let's see how it goes. I was worried, but I was able to pull it out. Shouts out to John Phillips, the man who supposedly builds the day before.
Yeah, there's no way.
um,
No
Those-
way. We don't believe you, bro. We
I
don't
want, I
believe
want,
you.
I need receipts.
Yeah, facts.
um, but so I beat him, and then I went on to Mitch, and with Mitch, I was thinking like again, I immediately. I sit down and I'm like, I have like everything sweating. Like I'm Mitch is gonna pull out some shit. I knew I had beaten him once, and so I knew it was possible. And my first game, I think I was able to I think I had a couple key MCAs. I think he tried to drop Dark Phoenix, and I was able to MCA that. And then I brought out some heavy hitters, and I've been able to do a good number of wounds to him because he had no defensive plot twist. His only plot twist was on the run.
Mm,
Um, And then game two was there was some shenanigans where what was it that happened? So what had happened was Mitch had attacked me and he had put down Thanos, and my and Adam was level 2 face down. I had MCA'd Thanos, thinking like, oh, he's gonna try to like rock me with some wounds right now. His turn finishes, I draw 2 cards, and I was like, okay, cool, like let's get playing. But then I was like, 8 plus. Oh, I should have flipped. Like neither Mitch nor I caught the fact that Adam should have flipped when he dropped Thanos. And so I was like, okay, well, like, I'll just flip him now. And Chad pointed out correctly. He's like, no, like we got to redo that last turn because Mitch probably would have done things differently. I'm like, no, you're absolutely right. So we redo it. Then it's back to me, and I draw, and I immediately am like, I drew 4 cards. Like I drew
Ah.
after the first time, and then once we rewound it and then went through again, I was like, okay, my turn. You always draw 2 cards at the end of your turn. And I said to Mitch, I was like, I mean, and to Chad, I was like, listen, I'm not going to win like this, and like, I'm not going, like, I want there to be no question how this match goes. Like, I accidentally drew 2 more cards, and what should we do? And Chad was like, all right, give me your hand, shuffles it up, puts 2 of the cards back on the top of the deck, and I had what was it? I had a Trask and an MCA in hand, and I had an Earth on the field, and we were I don't know which turn we were on, but we had like both had a ton of resources, like 9 or 10. And I was like, this MCA protects me from Dark Phoenix because I had an activator. It was either what's his name, Ahab or one of my hounds on the field. And Mitch plays Dark Phoenix and he calls levels. And if that MCA had been put back on top of the deck, and if I'd been able to MCA him, I'm pretty sure I would have won that match.
Mm.
That was obviously frustrating, but like I drew 2 extra cards, and I wish I hadn't, but I did. And then the third game, I actually made another error, which it's something that I've done a million times. I think we've all done a million times. Like I put a card down to the resource row, and then I was like, you know what? That's not the best card in the resource row. I
Yep.
need that card. So I brought it back up, and Chad was like, "Yo, you can't do that." And I was like, "Oh no, I can't." And B Rob was like right over my shoulder, and I was like, "He saw the card. It was the same card. Is it cool if I?" And Chad was like, like not gonna happen.
Yeah, I
I
remember
still,
seeing
even
that.
yeah,
Same.
even if Chad let me undo that, I wouldn't have won. Mitch, like I forget what it was that I put down, but it's like I remember I talked to Mitch and he had answers either way. So Mitch won, and shout out to him. He had a great deck, like I said, and he beat me straight up.
Yeah,
I'll say I blame our playtesting for that because when we playtest, you can go back. Like playtesting is not about winning. Playtesting is about learning.
right.
So if like, we're playing a game and you're just like, I should have probably put this card face down. I'm like, dude, go ahead, rewind as much as you need to. We can run this out different scenarios, right? Because this is about our learning. The tournament's about winning. The playtest is about learning. So I kind of blame our playtesting for that, because we're just used to like, oh, okay, well, I'll put this back in my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel you, man. That sucks, and I'm sorry about that.
Mitch is actually throwing in the comments. He said the main thing game one was that I Gene Grade as Monarch, and so every time I put down a resource, it was a wild, and I was soul gemming the crap out of his deck. I was like, I know exactly what's in your deck, man. Let's see, no Namor, no Maximus, no Thanos. You got nothing else? That's what I thought. You lose.
That's hilarious. Like that's funny, right? When you get to top and you get each other's deck list, if you have a way to call stuff out of their deck, you're just gonna be like, "Yeah, I'll take this. I'll take this. You don't need to play with this. You don't need this card. No, give me your deck. Just give me your deck. Give me your deck. I have it."
That's actually one of my considerations. I was like, I know Adam's got some bad matchups. I know he's got some bad matchups. But if I can get into the top 8 and I can see their deck list, I'm like, Soul Gem's gonna do some work.
And it's a one up, but that's all that matters because Adam's like, "Oh, you flipped me. Okay, here we go. Now."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. um, so my mindset going into top, um, I was actually upset when I sat down across from Ralph Cole because I did not realize prior to that second that I gave him my deck after I shuffled that I was the one that had to go through both players that had stand together. All right. I was going in on the backside of both of those matches. I should have lost both of those matches. You look at those decks, and you look at my deck, you look at their deck, and you're looking at their deck, and they're like, they can probably stun him turns 1 through 7.
Yeah, yeah.
If he
And I,
tries to ramp and they stand together his ramp, he's probably like I know their mindset. Their mindset was like, oh, we're gonna stand together, Valkyrie. No, in my opinion, that was the wrong mindset. If you stand together my ramp, not only do I lose my yellows, I lose resources. Like, so I was like, wow, he's gonna stand together my ramp, and I'm gonna get sad. So I immediately sat when I sat down across from him. I gave him my deck to shuffle up. I was just like, all right, let's get this over with. Top 8 is pretty good. It's day 2 top 8, but whatever. Let's just hurry up and shuffle this up. So I did not start top 8 happy at all, but it worked out. But
I will say, I mean, we were saying this ahead of time. Like, it's
yeah,
funny. I remember when we were thinking of MCs, we had like a short list of MCs that we wanted to play and a short list of MCs that we thought were going to show up.
yeah,
And I remember thinking, like, could Magneto do it? I was like, that 5 health is like the thing that I really don't like. He gets so big, and the Krakoa arc really juiced up the X-Men and the Brotherhood. There's like a lot of good
facts.
options. I was just really worried about the 5 health, and he doesn't have symbiosis. You can knock those counters off. But shout out to Apex. They took 3 people into the top 16 with friggin' Magneto.
It's ridiculous.
Loyal, no less.
Ridiculous. So all right, so now 24 minutes left in this. Don't worry, guys. I'm not gonna keep you too late. So let's bum rush this, right? Let's go through our top 8 matches. Let's go through highlights of your matches. Um, let's go through your mindset once you won that match, and then go all the way to the end. So let's start. We'll start with Pat, and then I'll go, and then we'll let the champ reign supreme at the end. So
All
Um, let's see, I think I've actually talked about most of this already, but so I faced Peter, and like I said, the game one I was able to soul gem Raiden, and it's
mm,
just it's really hard for him to win in a situation like that. I mean, it can be done, but not easily. Game two, I was able to. He took him forever to flip me, so I was able to beat him that way. I was just doing wounds, and he wasn't doing wounds to me. Then John Phillips, like I said, I was able to clear Chronica game. Like I talked to Smallwood afterwards. He was like, "Yeah, no, you did a really good job of making sure Chronica like wasn't effective for more than one turn."
you
So that was nice. Shout out to him too. He just had a second baby. Boom.
Hey, that's right. That's right. Congratulations, Smallwood, bro. Ew, ew.
Yeah, and just I mean, from a dad who has 2 kids to a dad who had one and now has 2 kids, it's good. It's a fun adjustment going from man up to man. It's it's my sister has 3, so now she's on zone defense, and it's a whole new game. But yeah, no, I was able to just like not let that Chronica do much work, which was nice. And then like I said in top 4, it's Mitch is a great guy, and it was very fun playing him. It's in the online tournaments. I enjoy playing him. He makes you work for it. So if you lose, you're like, I lost to one of the greats, and if you win, you're like, damn, I done something.
Yeah, big facts, big facts. Um, so yeah, you guys know of round 1 of top 8. I played against Ralph Cole. Hey Hoshi, how you doing, bro? Played against Ralph Cole, and honestly, once I had to play mind games. Like I had to try to get him to use his stand togethers. There was literally no other way. I had to get him out of his hand. And the fact that he had 3, I was like literally counting them because I was like, all right, he played one stand together against my cipher, which I baited him for that absolutely. And then he played another stand together against Cypher, and I was like, "All right, that's 2. There's absolutely no way he has a third in his hand right now." So I was like, "Valkyrie's out." And then I paid for the yellow, and I was like, "What you gonna do?"
Yeah, I think we all listened to the recap, and I remember when he said he's like he played a cipher, and I stood together that I did not watch the match, but when he said that, I was like, oof. I feel like there's some thunder coming from the hand right now. I feel like there's the Valkyrie.
Yep.
She's gonna escort you to the underworld.
Yeah, I think that was game 1, and then game 2, I was just like, I had the Valkyrie in my hand. I didn't have the cipher. I did he stand together at all that game? I don't think he played a stand together at all that game. But that game, it took me a really long time to set up because I don't think I ramped. I think I dramatic entrance into Jungle Hunter. I dramatic entrance into Wasp. I think at one point because his main was a 5-1, so I was just like, stun. It was like I had to play tricks and I had to play all different ways in my deck in order to beat him. But once I got up there and I played the Valk, I actually intended on playing Valk and then playing another Valk in the same turn to get him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when he let the first one through, I was like, "Oh, I got two prowlers and a KO pow." Um,
From a
yep,
deck.
yep. I was like, machine, one less, draw my deck, win. All right.
Yeah. All
So,
right, all right. So this has all been appetizer. This has all been appetizer so far.
oh
Tell us
boy.
about tell us about the entree. The entree that is Marcellus versus Oshawan.
Yo, Marcellus, let me talk to you right now. Let me talk
Oh my
right here.
gosh. Yes.
I should have lost. Not even going to sugarcoat it. I should have lost. You had me dead to rights. Both games,
Ooh,
you had me. Bro, Marcellus, I was sitting across from this man, and I was like, I looked at the deck list. I was like, so he basically just beat everybody down, and he used his stand togethers at the right time. Cool, no problem, whatever. I did not realize. I did not realize how good this deck was. But Marcellus, you had two outs on the board, my guy. For facts. Like you had Dakin who could have just ran through my field, and then you had so here's what happened game two. Game two is what we're getting to, right?
yeah.
So game two, I made the initial fuck up.
By the way, Marcellus says in the chat, I know.
Yes, yes, Marcellus. Yo, I made the initial fuck up. So what I did is I think I put Wasp in the back or something like that. But I was just like, all right, whatever. Um my initial fuck up was I could have gotten rid of Dakin, but it played into what happened next. So I didn't get rid of Dakin, but instead I put Dark Phoenix in front because I was like, there's no way. There's no way he's going to stop me from just protecting all my guys. He has to attack me. He doesn't have stealth. I'm good. And I saw it. I was like, wait, that's a superpower. Does he see it? Hey, Smallwood, welcome to the crew. I was waiting for you, bro. What happens? I drank your beer. My bad. So
Crack Smallwood. I'm on my third, dude. Crack one and
catch up,
up. I mean,
catch up.
like I said, you have two kids right now. I mean, you gotta.
Hey yo, shout out to Big Three. Shout out to Apex, Big Three, all the teams that come through and really like but build phase. Shout out to D Rob, like everybody. Y'all some real life. All right, so I sit here and I was like looking at it. I was like, yo, he doesn't know that stand together works for this. He either doesn't know or he doesn't have it, right? And I was like, every time he formatted, I was like, yo, if he formats and he puts more than one person in front, I got this, right? But I also had dramatic entrance in my hand after like the second time. So if he did last stand it, I could then dramatic entrance. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, he doesn't know. And um I was waiting on the opportunity to double Valk because
Yeah.
there was no way I knew he had at least one, but I didn't know if he had two. Sure enough, this mofo was holding two. And I was sitting there, I was like, okay, so he doesn't know, he's not using it. He's either like tunneled on Valk or he literally just forgot. So I let it play out. There was like four turns where he attacked the Dark Phoenix, and I was just like, hey, green. And he was just like, well, yep, okay, pass. I was like, yo.
Ralph Edwards and I were behind you, and we were like holding each other like the heroines in like an '80s movie. Like the good guy is fighting. I mean, the bad guy is fighting our boyfriend, and we're holding each other, worried that he's going to die. Like we
Oh
were
my
like,
god.
he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it.
So
We
what
were
was
like, if he sees it, Osh is
so
fucked.
what put me over the
I behind Marcellus, and I saw the stand together, and I'm like, this game is over. Osh lost. All right, it's me versus Cell next round. It'll be tough, but But then he didn't use it, and I was like,
Yo, you know what really tipped it
let's
for
go,
me?
let's go.
I forgot who was behind Marcellus, but like he said to Bert, he was like, I don't know why he didn't use it. And I was like, yo, can y'all get the away? Because it was like my strategy to just sit there and let him think that I didn't know it could happen. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
get away. But I knew I was prepared to lose. After I drew the dramatic, I think it was after the second attack he went into me, I drew the dramatic entrance. So I was like, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm just waiting for my second Valkyrie because if he last stands that, because I remember I attacked it. It was what was it? Now I have to look at my deck list again because I forgot how I got his thing away.
You threw down the Valk and
Whoops.
you played the yellow to activate her ability. He stood together that, but then
I
you had enough resources because you had rammed a bunch and you played the second.
It was Frank Drake. So Frank Drake, I KO'd one of his guys. I didn't care who it was. I equipped him and I went through his deck and I wanted to see how many stand togethers he had in his deck. And he didn't have in his hand. I think it was like after the second time. I was like, oh snaps, there's two stand togethers in here, and he already played two. He has none in his hand. I gotta go. So then two more turns. I recruited Valkyrie. I paid the yellow, he stand together. I was like, okay. Next turn, he did it again. And I played the green and he was like, okay, pass. I was like, whew. So I went in again. I
You were
but
like, I am so high on life right now.
but this is the thing, right? So I did it again. I played Valkyrie. I paid for the yellow for Valkyrie at the beginning of my build phase, and he played a stand together. Then I was like, okay, recruit Valkyrie again. Then I paid the other yellow. Then
Yeah,
he was
Marcellus didn't like that.
he didn't lie
Marcellus
like
didn't
that
like
at
the
all.
Valk, the Valk sandwich. No, no one likes the
Yeah.
Valk sandwich.
So
So
after
it's like blades and horses.
whoop, 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 no, but once I got the second Valk off, he looked at my KO pile and he was like, "Go ahead." And my crazy ass, this was my other mistake. I was so tunnel visioned on trying to draw my deck. I paid for Valk and I showed him two Prowlers and I said, "Okay, I'm just gonna draw my deck." And I picked my deck up with Chad sitting right next to me. There was no machine on the field.
Oh yeah.
So Chad was like, I stopped and I was like, oh, I can't do that. And I turned to Chad. I was like, yeah, I don't have machines. So Chad was like, we're gonna shuffle your deck, and that's gonna be a warning. I was like, oh. So but after,
Chad was throwing the warnings left
yo,
and
he was
right
like,
in the top eight. He was like, look, I'm not even looking, I'm just throwing them.
So I was like,
Chad was shooting from the hip, yo. He was like, pop, pop, pop,
yeah,
pop, 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 warning. But
It was like a John Wick movie with warnings.
yes, exactly. But what ended up happening is that entire turn, and I was like, yo, if I don't get it, I'm dead. I was looking for Frank Drake because I needed to invent. I was like, yo, I can't find the right card. I need to invent so I can get the machine out. And I couldn't find him. And then I said, all right, whatever. I went to Formate and Frank Drake after I used all my resources because I used my resources for Prowler. I used my resources for Iron Man, and I put on his his armor that whenever I played a card, I draw the card. So I kept I kept playing uh Prowler from my KO pile to draw two cards, trying to get everything out of my deck so I can actually do this. And then I was like, where is Frank Drake? I can't believe this. I missed it. All right, let me format. This time I pulled Dark Phoenix to the back and I put everybody that is disposable in front. And then I look down, I'm like, there's a Frank Drake on my board.
Yeah.
Cool.
Goes Chad, the Dream Breaker.
Facts, right? Yo, chat was right there. I would never forget. I went to draw my two cards after that turn because, like, after that, like, even if he pulled everybody to the front, he couldn't get through my wall because I had Wasp up there. Because I ravaged him too. I think I ravaged him twice. Um,
Yeah.
I had Wasp up there. I had like everybody, right? And I went to draw my cards and I look over and Chad's chin is basically touching my top card. He's like, I'm just like, I was like, I looked to draw my card. I was like, Chad. He was like, draw your
Yeah.
two. I was like, "Yeah, all right, you got it. But
I,
after,
I will say that I think I talked to Bert a little bit about Marcellus's deck,
mm,
and he was like he was talking about how like because I think Marcellus, I forget if he when he had played him but he beat him. He was talking about how it is a winnable match. You Dark Phoenix and you call +1 counters, then you Dark Phoenix and you call keywords, and I was like, is that all? Just you just gotta play 2 Dark Phoenixes? Yeah, I guess I could do that. Like
yeah,
shit, I don't
sure.
know. It sucks.
Yeah, you played two Dark
I will
Phoenixes.
say though,
Right.
should have won and could have won are two completely different statements. With
Oh
all due
yeah.
respect
Oh
to
yeah.
everyone, right? Like when you're in the top eight, there is a lot of pressure. Every game in the top
Absolutely.
eight and honestly top 16 I saw, if you look at anyone's hands, they were like,
Whole
like
time. Whole time.
Yeah,
right the entire time,
there
and
was a
that
lot of
that
tremors.
happens,
A
you
lot of
know,
tremors.
right? Like that happens, and tunnel vision is an issue that happens honestly, like not to just card game players, but video gamers, and that's what happens, and that's the pressure at top eight. To get to that first place, you have to be able to go above that pressure.
Yeah.
And a lot
Facts.
of times it happens, right? It happened to me. Like everyone, like me and D Rob go over this every single time I see him. The 2022 midwinter where I had the game one and I put Frank Drake in the front. I'm sorry, not Frank Drake. Whatever the guy with no legs is. Um,
Flash Thompson.
no legs. I don't remember what his name is ever. And I forgot to say level up, which meant I only had one wound left and I ended up losing the game. That's the pressure.
Yep.
And so he could have won that game. Should he have? I mean,
It's one of those things where
it
it's like,
that's and it happens to everyone.
yeah,
Good players, great players, it happens.
it happens all the time. Like in all honesty, in our first match, if anybody didn't know, Jose actually beat me 3 times over the course of the weekend. He made sure that I lost. But in our first match, I was like sitting at the last, I think time was called, and I was like, if I did this 2 turns ago, I probably would have won. Because I got rid of the Timbu Ba that was locking me down from like pulling off my combo. And if I would have had Valkyrie out along with the machine 2 turns prior, because he couldn't get through my wall, I would have been able to pop off that turn instead of trying to wait for a turn later. So like, even though that's not top eight, that when you're playing against somebody who has won majors and who has obviously solidified themselves in as a big tournament player, you're gonna be like, damn, they're gonna think of something that I never would have thought about, and they're gonna pull it out their ass and they're gonna win. Like that's the mindset that a lot of people go through.
To go into that match really quickly, you and I had discussed this because we have actually played Mystique versus the Dark Phoenix Valkyrie build, in testing.
Yep.
And one of the things I actually said, because just super quick, my deck went from running Trask to Cosmo to Timbuba. But what's it called? So one of the things with Cosmo, I was like, you dramatic into Cosmo and you block someone with either range, flight from attacking you or their superpowers. And you did that to me on round 4 or 5, and I was like, because you're like Cosmo Mystique, she can't use
Level.
any abilities. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, I literally had this game locked down. And then you did that to me. And that was a major WTF.
Yeah, I still lost that game.
That
But
was such a pro move, man.
yo, it's
Like,
stuff like that, like
still.
buying you extra turns. You know what I'm saying? Like I I should have lost against Marcellus. And what I did is I played into it and I bought myself extra turns. That's what top eight is about. Top eight is not about, oh, whose deck is better. It's about who can buy themselves that time in order to find what they need to win. That's because
Right.
your deck works. You're in top eight. Your deck works. You just have to find a way to make it work better than your opponent. That's what it is.
For sure.
But
100%.
I won't go into my final match of the day because it's going to be covered by Jose. Oh, rhymes. Chicka chicka. Um, but yeah, I'll let you go ahead and I'll let you talk about your top eight experience in the shotgun it real quick.
I'll do this quick one because as Ash said, it's covered in Mr. Ben's podcast. And if anyone sees that I'm turning red, like, this is Malibu Black. I'm almost done with this entire
Wait, hold
bottle.
up. Show us the
It,
side. Show us the side. I want to see the side because the side tells us how much you got left in there.
it's like
Oh,
up to
there's no
here.
side.
It's up to here. And we started this with me cracking. I told you, gentlemen, I bought this earlier today. Like, I have extra bottles that I bought today in case we run out. So,
My
either way,
man.
That's a lot of
Anyway,
Malibu.
let's do this quick. All right,
Yeah.
first round was against Bert. I love the man. I respect the man. He's a great player. I do think I had the advantage in there because I normally do against a Warlock deck with Mystique.
Yeah.
But I knew if I just messed up one turn, I could have effed it up. I played super cautious. I was able to get the 2-0 on him. I did not want to see Ashley, and I was very happy when I heard that Aaron beat her because I have a good matchup against
Wait,
Liu
wait, wait.
Kang.
Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about how they were like, nah, we're not gonna let Ashley take this one. We're gonna put her against her husband.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
that was grimy. They could that
Little
was grimy.
domestic abuse. I was actually
Me
not
and
okay.
Aaron, they are
Not
married.
okay.
They're together. I don't 100% know, but Ashley and Aaron, they're married.
Yeah, man.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm not 100%, so I didn't know. But okay, that's good to know. Respect both of them. I was. This was part of my like when I said when my brother and I were going through stuff. We're like, technically, Liu Kang can pull this out, and he did. So that was That was amazing.
Yeah, big
Fucking
ups
amazing.
to Aaron because I couldn't beat her.
Yeah, no, none of us could remember. As Pat said, no man can beat us.
It's
Female, a different story.
arrangement
So,
right there.
yeah.
Facts.
So we play Bert. Shout outs to Berts. Like I feel like Berts and I are destined to play each other. And up to this point,
Every tournament.
since the Florida regional last year, I've been getting lucky against him. My luck will soon run out. I'm pretty sure he's coming to Ohio next month. We'll see how that goes.
Well.
So I was able to do that one. I played Aaron. I won game 1. I lost game 2. In game 3, I was in a bad spot because on turn 2, he TV'd, ramped into, I think it was a Quicksilver or no, I'm sorry, it was a Killmonger, and I forgot to MCA it, and I was very sad. And Smallwood was behind me, and I'm like, did you just see how I threw away this game? But he wasn't playing too many new characters, and so I was like, maybe I have a shot. So I'm like, let me concentrate. Let me see what happens on game 3. And long story short, because he wasn't playing too many, he leveled up Liu Kang to level 2, and then I was able to, when he teamed attack, I was able to level up to level 3 with a dramatic, well, my apologies, with a red for Masquerade from Mystique, which gave me that extra wound, double stun with Liu Kang level 2, and then next turn I was just like, I forget if it was Banshee or Boomerang, I was like, Daze your last person, and you don't have last one, so attack directly with Deadpool for the game. So he was the only one that I was like, oh shit, this is close. That went 2-1. Next, I was, Osh or Cell, both were good decks, great decks. Cell would have been a more direct deck, but I could have definitely done that. Like, we definitely tested. Like, I told Team Apex, like, I talked to Cell and I talked to Vernon. I'm like, I actually came prepared with a mono loyalty Venom deck. So I definitely tested against that, and I won more matches than not. So
Yeah, I'm
either
sorry. I
way,
don't see how Marcellus's deck beats yours because
for sure.
Marcellus has to attack. Like he doesn't have a way to wound you outside of attacking you. And you're
Yeah,
just like, thanks.
yeah.
Like,
Realistically, I was like worried about the aggression, but it's not that like
Marcellus is on the chat is saying, I would have took mistake.
I would listen. You know what? How about this?
I
How
don't know.
how about this? How about this?
listen to the
If
Apex podcast, and I get that's his take on the matter, but I have prepped against loyalty decks. Like as I said, mine was against a Venom, not necessarily a Magneto, but that is a very winnable matchup for me. Um, Especially when you only have 5 wounds, right? And then I know one of the big things for Magneto is he gets big really fast, but come on, my deck just has days for days. Banshee, Lilith, well, Lilith can't stun mains. I mean, days mains. Boomerang,
oh,
so I wasn't worried about that,
Cell
that
is
part of it.
popping off.
Either
Cell
way,
is
it would have
popping
been a tough
off,
matchup
bro.
against a good player. Either way,
Right now.
Yo, Cell said put up the belt.
Yo,
I,
Marcellus,
and I see what he's right.
I got to talk to Marcellus for a second. Listen, I came up with a line. Like, I hope you forgive me for this because I think it's a relatively smooth line. You got to let me do this. How are you going to read your opponent when you can't read your cards?
Oh, oh
That's
no.
the pressure of the top 8, respectfully. So he definitely had a shot, and I definitely shot. I remember when we played in the rounds, my hand wasn't the greatest, but he drew, I think, like by turn 5 or 6, he drew three stand. No, I'm sorry, not three stand togethers. He drew 3 shocks. He drew 3. Um, what is the other card called? Unwavering loyalties. He hit curve besides 1 drop,
Mm.
and I miss my Unisys. So like I
Oh,
heard the Apex podcast where he's like, I kept the low characters, which totally understandable, good strategy. But I don't care if my opponent plays big characters. I have Eunice. I have 8 of them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and you guys know because you guys play tested with me. So I'm not saying it would have been an easy win. It would have been a back and forth slaughter between both of us.
Big facts.
But to say like that I wasn't prepared for the matchup, I was definitely prepared. It could have gone either way. Before top 8, I played 2 Magnetos, him being one of them. Him, I lost to. My hand wasn't great. He had Dakin, but then I looked at the deck list and there was 1 Dakin only. So yeah, if
Yeah,
you draw that 3 shocks, you draw 3 unwavering, you draw the 1 Dakin, and my hand is up. It wasn't the greatest. Like I literally had a dramatic, I think, into an Ahab.
the way that he
If
drew
you draw like
Dakin though,
that,
like I kind of felt like he had like 6 Dakins in his deck because he absolutely pulled it both games against me. Like both, I was like, yo, Dakin is just here.
and as I said, all due respect to the man, it would have been a slobber back and forth. But to say I hadn't prepared for it and to say I didn't have a strategy for it, it was definitely a winnable matchup for me. I had prepared, as I said, against very aggro decks,
Yeah.
and Magneto with his counters, I have days for days. So who knows how that would have gone, but it would have been.
No,
Days.
I love it. My man said days for days. I'm done.
Days for days. Come on, you guys know.
No, Sel knows we're each at least 3 drinks deep. He knows we're just messing around. Like
Alright.
Jose said, it would have been no one knows how it would have gone. It would have been back and forth, and we would have saw.
It
Nah,
would have been. I knew whether it was Cell or Osh because Osh knocked me out last year in the top 4.
I remember
Either
that.
way, I was going into a hell of a match,
But
and
that's
both matches were winnable. But either way, it would have been a hell of a match.
on some
So
real
it
though.
just
Like when I played you, I knew that I was gonna lose because like like you said, we tested so much. It was just like last year. Last year when we played against each other, like you knew I had the advantage because we played so much against each other. It was like I, I have to pull, I have to draw perfectly, and he has to draw no blues in order for him to win, right? And then this year, I was like, if he has Tim Buba, I lose. Like I know that, even with my dramatic interests. So sure enough, Tim Buba came out. I think I attacked into Tim Buba twice, and then the following turn, you just recruited another one. I was like, what am I supposed to do against this? I can't win this.
and that's what I told you. Like against our match, I had like that's why I would have preferred you against Cell. Number one, because you are my teammate, and I want to see you go I want to see both of you go as freaking far as possible. Which
Big facts, big
all
facts.
3 of us hitting top 4, fucking amazing. I love you guys, and that was awesome. But what's it called? Against you, like my brother and I talked about it, and we're like, let's just draw the Timbu Buzz. We just have to hold them until you obviously try to Valkyrie until Valkyrie's a threat. We have Timbu Buzz, we have MCAs, we have X23.
So annoying.
We have outs for days. And against Cell, that match would have been more straightforward, but it would have been a back and forth, right? Does he draw the aggression early? Do I draw the dramatic Marvel girl? And it just would have gone back and forth.
Yeah.
And he would have had, the counters for Magneto, but I would have had all the days just to get the counters off. So either way, both of you are good players. Both of you are great players. Both of you had great decks. Um, it would have been a slobber either which way, but it was you, and we duked it out.
I
Game
just
one,
scooped game
so
two.
nervous.
I took his
Yeah.
shit out. I was like,
Right,
nah.
game game one. I have respect for all of you, right? All of everyone in the top 8. I mean, I'm sorry, top 16. All of y'all are great players. I have respect for all of you. Um, and so even though you kept saying you're just gonna beat me, you're gonna beat me, I'm like, I don't want to get careless because if I do, that's the one chance you're gonna capitalize and you're gonna beat me. So we did our first game.
It's
I
true.
was
Probably did that.
able to win it out with, of course, the Deadpool combo.
Mhm.
And I was like, Ash is a great player. He is gonna go for the gadget. And of course, you had the gadget. So,
I
even though
bought
I didn't
myself
draw
one
the
turn.
that right, a lot of my games were like one turn could be the whole difference. And then you did that. And then the second game, sorry to say, like you literally didn't draw locations for like I think 5 turns. I think on turn 5 you played one location.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you scooped because at that point, like I get it, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was saving Timbubas in my hand.
Oh, I know.
Mm.
I
That
knew as
game.
soon as I hit turn 6, Timbu Ba was going to hit the field. It was impossible for you not to have him because you kept.
Yeah.
Like you
Like
kept your opening hand, so you either have one tuba or you have 3. There is no in between there.
yep. And when I talked to like my brother about this, he's like, dude, he's like, just keep the Timbubas, don't play them early. When MCA the Valkyrie when she comes out, and then he's like, drop the Timbubas as soon as she's on the field. That buys you at the very least 2 turns. And I was like,
You know.
you're
Yep.
right,
I
right.
was trying to
So
find ways to like get rid of him with lethal. I was trying to find ways to like just get rid of it because I built my deck with the assumption that Timbu Ba wasn't going to be there. And when he was, I was like, all right, I just got to play around him. Sometimes I was able to play around him. Sometimes I wasn't.
for
Yeah.
sure. And I know we all talked about it. That was part of our strategizing. I literally told you guys, I'm like, I don't think he'll be there. And then the last week, I'm like, maybe he'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I told, and it was really bad for me because freezing Mystique is obviously very bad with Iceman, and then on top of that, even Wasp, right?
Yep.
Because I can't attack you and then pay the red because I attack you and then you cancel the combat with Wasp. I'll never get a chance to pay the red. So for me, it was extra incentive to play Timbuba, and that's why he jumped in.
All right.
But
No,
So
that was our match.
when you're talking about the like even when you think you have Osh on the ropes, like you're like this man can squeak out a win. That was what happened with me and Colby. Like I did 4 wounds to him. He only has 5 wounds, and I had the Dark Phoenix in hand. I was like, I think I'm gonna call superpowers, and I took forever to think of that play. And Colby was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was like, listen, I'm not trying to solo play you here, man. Like, I think there's like 20 minutes left on the clock. I just like, I know you're a good player, and I don't know what's in your deck, and I'm like worried you're gonna Jedi mind trick me right now and beat me. So I like called superpowers, and then the next turn, he was like, I was like debating what I was gonna do. I had what's his name, Agamotto in hand.
I
I was
remember
like,
this.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna play Agamotto, and he's going to slam it in my face. And afterwards, he was like, "You had this. Why did you take so long?" I was like, "Kobe, like this is nothing but respect." I was like convinced that I was going to like attack, and you were going to somehow do 3 wounds to me in a turn.
That's the
100%.
mindset though. Like that's the mindset when you're going up against these crazy ass players. You're just sitting across from them like you probably have a card I've never seen before in your deck and it's gonna make me lose.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%. And that's mad respect to the community. We don't have like versus isn't a huge game, but the players we have are so insanely good that
yeah.
you
Yeah,
have to take everyone seriously. And one mistake could cost you the game.
big facts. So take
For
us
sure.
Well,
into your game against Mitch.
Oh, Mitch. So we
Yeah.
got rushed to a hotel and I had to catch a plane and everything. And I'm like, I looked at Mitch's deck. I'm like, if I could draw Timbuba, I should be okay because he can't level.
Yep.
Because if I draw Timbuba, he only plays 4 Prowler 1 drops, and he plays 2 Prowler
four drops.
4 drops.
Mm.
So I'm like, he just won't be able to level. And the 3 drop Wolverine as my hound pile, he just stuns Spider Gwen or whatever her name is every turn. So long story short, game one, we rolled for initiative. I won. I drew Timbuba in my opening hand. I'm like, doesn't matter. Keep
Yep.
able to do that. Um, I think at one turn, he tried to freeze me with Boomerang, and then he tried, and that was essentially it. He had Jessica Jones, and it was annoying to get rid of her, so I had to like actually slow down and just be like, okay, let's see. I can't win this turn, but next turn because he didn't have any plot twists. He only ran on the run,
Yep.
and which doesn't affect obviously attacking. So I was
Mhm.
like, all right, so let's get the wounds into this turn. Let's minimize the board and next turn win. And I think that's what happened on that first game. The second game, there was definitely a little bit of luck because as he'll say, he had a mantis. He was able to mantis, then play another mantis, put her into his row, and then I think I slightly messed. I don't know about say I mess up, but he had a second mantis, and then I leveled up into Mystique level 3, and then he put her in the back row, and he forgot attack, and he should have ran in. He should have ran Mantis into Mystique, but he didn't. He put her in the back row, and that let me capitalize because one more turn he would have been able to play Dark Phoenix. Now I played tested against Dark Phoenix. I might have had a shot at that point because if you call superpowers, I switch into Joseph and start dazing your entire board, and I can win a wounds. But if you call keywords, then I could still do obviously Deadpool. So it could have gone either way if he did that. And part of that was just playtesting, which I had playtested that scenario multiple times. It just would have been dependent on what he called. Could have gone either way. But long story short, I think at one point, and I could be wrong about this, he left Jessica Jones in the front row in the second game and Mantis in the front row, which let me use Mystique to attack Jessica, pay the red, and level up. And then the next turn, I think he accidentally left Mantis in the back row. I could be wrong how this goes, the
Yeah.
exact
Ah.
order.
You're three quarters of a Bacardi Black Deep, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
This bottle is almost done, and as you guys can tell, like I am red. Like if you watch the beginning of the video,
I, I
I was
had
normal skin
I had
color, and
two
now I'm
I
red.
had, I had two regular beers and then a tall boy. You have drank significantly more than me.
Hey, when you're on top, bro, like you could drink as much as you want,
When
right?
we say let's get drunk, let's get drunk with let's get dangerous. I mean it, right? Let's do it, boys.
There you go.
Um,
All right.
Man,
Shout
man.
outs to Mitch. We like after I won, and obviously there was some luck in there because I'm not gonna lie. Game one and game two, I drew 3 Timbubas both games, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah, that's a
I'm
dub.
gonna hold on to them. And shout outs to Sean Powell, I think is his last name. I almost threw that game away. Day two, game round one. He finally got rid of my Timbuba, and then I didn't play another one from my hand. And then the following turn, he was like, Prowler, 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 level up. And I'm like, and I almost lost that game. Luckily, I was able to win. But so I learned my lesson.
Yeah, always play
So,
Timbu Ba.
right.
I remember watching that. You would like I watched that happening. I was like, uh oh, he's like Sean's on a roll. And then you threw on the X23, paid the red, and then he tried to Maximus and use Dutch's ability, and you were
Yeah.
like, listen, man, you can pitch the Dutch, but you can't pay for him. And he was like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yep.
And I do like to think my Mystique deck was unique. My brother and I built it, and we're like, no one's else going to play it like this. And we're hoping that would give me an advantage. And it did, in the sense that people forget about X23, people forget about those kind of things, and he accidentally messed up, and it happens.
It does.
And
It
he
does.
pitched the Dutch, pay the 3, and I'm like, nah, ain't gonna happen, bro.
Yo,
I
Um,
remember
that's
he was like, "What do you mean I can't pay?" And I was like, "Sean, my heart goes out to
that's
you."
what it is. That when you're playing against top players, you mess up. But all
it
right. So
happens.
now that we've been through this incursion event, we've seen all the top stuff. What we feel is the top stuff. Obviously, our decks, and then everybody else that made top 8 on their respective days. We already know that Mystique. I'm not. Yeah, Mystique is going to get banned. Um,
So
they're probably going to ban dramatic entrance or something like that because like after they banned Mystique, they have to ban something else in the deck, right? So
I played 8 Unices, so
yeah,
they could.
I doubt Eunice is gonna get banned, but they're probably gonna ban dramatic entrance because that was like pivotal, right? So like, what do you guys think outside of the stuff that we know is gonna get banned? What do you think should get banned? So let's start. Let's start with you, Jose. What do you think should get banned?
Machine,
Screw
Dark
you.
Phoenix,
I hate you.
and Maximus. If you don't ban Machine, Ohio is going to be silly with Mr.
Facts.
Fantastic Machine.
Oh.
But I'm pretty confident they'll ban it. We'll see how it goes. But those are
Mhm.
my three.
Okay, Pat. What do you think?
I don't. I'm not sure what I think's gonna get banned, but I hope Maximus does. It's like I actually think that he's. I thought this incursion was a really good incursion because it
Mhm.
was just such a wide open field. We talked about this before. You can't plan for everything, and we like when you try to plan for everything, you get an inconsistent deck. The It's a good healthy format when there's like a bunch of viable options,
Mhm.
and you're like, I don't know what exactly I should do. You just have to do your best and work towards consistency. I think Maximus was fun. It would be great if he's like not a consideration going forward. It's just like he's is I think he's a good check on certain like deck building strategies, but I told you, Ralph Cole Maximus me, and it's like a miracle that I won that match. It's like very unfun to
Yeah.
get Pixie Max, Prowler Max, Maximus just in general. Um, I would love to see him go. And I think there's a chance he goes because there was a good number of decks in the top eight that
Yeah.
had him.
Yeah. I think he goes because there were so many in top that like relied on him. Because
Yeah.
there was like people in top that didn't even have another win con. It was just like, nah, I'm gonna. It's just Maximus. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was good enough to get there. Um, Ralph threw in the chat. He said Mystique, Ghost. Nah, get out of here.
Ghost Fight.
Spider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Ghost
Ghost
Spider. Okay, okay. He's mad with the space bar. Got it. Adam Warlock. I agree with Adam Warlock. I think he should go. Um, Dark Phoenix, Jessica Jones, Monarch, Maximus, Jungle Hunter, Mantis, Bishop. Yo, bro, you're just trying to get rid of everything. Forget you. Nah. So what I think they should get rid of, I honestly think, I think that I'm with you on Smallwood. I'm actually really with Smallwood. I want them to go through every top 8 deck, look for anything that's in 3 or more decks, get rid of it. Because
I think this is the first time that there's like, I mean, what's it called? GenCon last year, the main event was not Incursion.
right.
There's been an Incursion event since then. Seattle obviously was a smaller event this year, so they only banned like kind of like a couple things.
Yeah, shout out to Seattle. Y'all had a chance, bro.
Players.
um, no, I love Seattle. I don't love the timing of it. I would have loved to go and defend my regional title, but that's another topic for another day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think it would be awesome, just like Smallwood said, if they cut a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Like multiple MCs, multiple SCs, multiple equipment, multiple locations. Yes, shake it up.
But you know what's funny? I think Ralph made a very good point. Only one person had machine in their deck in the top, right? Like nobody else had inventors. Let's see. We had let me just double check cuz if that's the case, they can't cut machine, right? Like what so Magneto didn't have a cloak in their Mystique,
Right.
me, and then Marvel Girl, Adam what no, so no they didn't have it and then in your guys is
Most of there was not a
yeah,
lot of
no.
machine represented. I mean, machine would be great if it goes. I don't think machine necessarily goes. I
I
know
don't think it goes.
Hector OG Let's Get Dangerous is calling for machine to be banned. That's just because spoiler alert, Hector might be back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Buckle up.
Yeah. But
He's a
I
hiatus. He's been doing the world tour. He's been doing legendary. He's been doing other board games. But Hector said to me, I said, Hector, I love this game. Do not fuck with me. And he says, I'm not fucking with you. I'm coming back.
Yo, not for nothing,
So
man. Hector, all we gotta do is get him like 2 sets. He'll be straight. Like he's good. We can jump back in here.
this is the guy who had like a winning record at MimicCon with Sabretooth. That's how good this guy is.
Awesome, man.
Facts.
That's awesome.
He was clowning people
Yeah,
with Sabretooth and active camo.
yeah, that's ridiculous. All right, so now that we got our predictions on what should be banned, we all know how we placed. I'm very happy with how we came out of this tournament. Let's get dangerous. Um, let's get dangerous topped. Like we top forward. If it wasn't for Mitch, honestly, we would have had 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Mitch, you suck. But no, shout out to Mitch, man. Mitch is another
Awesome.
mad scientist. If we had to share the top with anybody, I'm glad it was him. Um, so how do you guys feel after the tournament? Like, how do you feel? Have you do you feel like you solidified yourself? Because I know that last year I felt like I was like, a lot of people knew me, but now people know me. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you guys feel after winning this tournament? Well, sorry, after topping. We'll go to Pat. See how you feel. Then we'll let Jose pop off for a little bit. He's probably gonna put the belt on. But let's.
Um, I was fortunate enough. Apex reached out to me back in, I think it was April, and they Vern did a player profile on me. Thank you guys very much. It was an honor to be on the podcast. I told them on that podcast that back in at MimicCon, I didn't have a lot of testing people. Like there was like no one really in the West Coast that I was able to test with. So I would get the occasional game with someone from the East Coast. So it was like 95% theory crafting, and I was like, wait for it. What's her name? Shadowcat. Shadowcat is gonna win this. It's not gonna be Rogue. It's not gonna be Meg. I'm gonna play Shadowcat, and she's gonna rock the house. She didn't. I got shellacked. I did terrible. And then the pandemic happened, so I didn't play in it. So when I came to Gen Con, I was like, I've won some regionals, I've run Vegas, I've won Seattle. It would be really cool if I don't fall on my face like I did the first Gen Con I was in. And it was really fun. I like it was fun. I played with a lot. It was cool meeting people who I've only played online, and it was awesome getting all the way to the top tables. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, no, this was a fun experience, and I definitely look forward to playing at more Gen Cons in the future.
Big facts, big facts. For me, it's like honestly, I'm happy. I'm happy with how everything went. I'm very glad that I'm going to be taking at least a month break. I am trying to go to Ohio, so shout out to everybody else in Ohio. We might see you soon. But it was interesting because I think I heard it at about 10 of my matches over the course of the weekend. I sit across from somebody and they're like, "Ah, shit, the world champ." Like, and I'm like, guys, I'm 2-2. like, I'm 2-2. Like we're on the same level right now. We're sitting across from each other. So you guys got that. But
Previous years at Gen Con have had more people, but this was honestly the cream of the crop. I remember what was it? I think Vern described this year's midwinter as like a bloodbath. There weren't that many people,
yeah,
but it's like people who come are like the top tier players, and it was the
yeah,
same way with this chunk. There were only 32 players on day one, and there were like I think about 28, 30 on day two. But these are like all the killers. These are all the top players. So it's
yeah.
like match is a gimme.
There was nobody that I sat across from where I looked at their MC and I was like, "Oh, I got this." Like there was
Yeah,
nobody in that tournament that I could have been like, "Oh yeah, this is not a problem at all. I'm cool on this." Literally
yeah,
every single match was like, "Well, can't fuck that up." Like
yeah,
every single
yeah.
one. So, all right, Jose, pop off, bro. Do you? Go
No
ahead.
pop up. Mad respect for everyone in the top team. Mad respect for everyone. I apologize, gentlemen, if I am drunk. I'm not a big drinker, but I have, I think,
Yo,
almost
celebration,
close
baby.
on the spot up. I think it's down to
Yo.
here. But hey, we said let's get drunk with, let's get dangerous. So I did what I could. Um,
Yeah, I'm
everyone
out.
was amazing. The matches were amazing. Everyone needed a little bit of luck, and I was just lucky to get that luck. And when Mitch was an amazing person, after I took the pictures of the top eight holding the belt by myself, he said, "Hey, this is wrestling. You should honestly get a picture with second place, essentially holding your hand up high." And I was like, "Sure." And Mitch was awesome. Mitch is a great player. Mitch
Facts.
is a great person, and I am very happy to have been against him in the top two. And I'm very glad that I was able to play with you fine gentlemen and we were top four. Like, that is quite an accomplishment for a team, right? There's only three of us, and we made three of the top four slots. Like, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys and everything you do. And I appreciate all our talks that we have in private and our games. I appreciate my brother who helped me work on this game,
He about to
and
cry. Look
he's
at him.
honestly my
Yeah,
twin who's ready to show up any moment.
there's
Um,
water in that eye. There's water in that eye.
right? And I appreciate him for all the insight he gave me um, when we were building the deck out. I can't say enough about that. I appreciate my girlfriend who was amazing, and I appreciate all your girlfriends and wives, for both of you and your families for letting you guys do all this play testing and honestly getting you guys as far as you are. Your girlfriends and wives are amazing. I
My
appreciate all
my
the
wife,
players.
my wife is not going to watch this. She's not going to watch this. But if she does, shout out to her because she had to watch my kids for 5 days by herself. And like every time I called, I'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" She's like, "Talk to the kids." I'm like, "Will do, will do."
No, for me, like, yeah,
Right?
big shout outs to Shara because, in all honesty, like, if she she could absolutely veto all this shit. You're like, nah, it's late. Let's go. Let's go. You're not talking verses. Let's go. No, but definitely shout
Yeah.
out to Sarah for letting me do this. So
Definitely shout out to the girlfriends and the wives for all of us guys that make this possible. The
All the
fact that you're
partners.
all willing to support us for this. Shout outs to you all.
you the
Shout outs
MVP.
to the players. Right. Shout outs to the players. You guys were all great. The top 16, honestly, everyone, even the new players. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
shout
it.
outs. It's honestly a great community. And
Yeah.
Facts, facts. And you know what?
um,
He started it. Jose started the shout out. So let's go ahead. Let's get this in. Pat, throw them out. Throw out your shout outs. Throw out your last minute thoughts. The whole nine.
I mean, Jose should shout out to everyone, so he's already kind of blanketed that.
Yeah, yeah.
I will a couple people like we already said. Shout out to Bert for the New York Minute. Shout out to D Rob and the other Ohio crew for doing the tournaments.
Big shout out.
I remember you would want to talk about this. Like I said this when I won Seattle that like the Ohio the Buckeye League thing is a great way to prepare for these tournaments. It's just like
Facts.
seeing what's out there, having fun, and preparing for the tournaments. But also
Hmm.
like specifically shout out to D Rob who is like so funny. Like the man is not like casually so funny.
This
He
man's
um
a god.
he said to me, everyone knows that I play slow, not on purpose. It's just my play style. But I remember he saw me and he's like, I thought you were gonna walk in like this, like, and I was like, good on T-Row. That's a good one, my man. That's a good one. You hating on me for being slow. I get that. I
I
get
love
that.
it. I love it. Yo, D Rob, shout out to D Rob, yo. D Rob is the MVP of a lot of these tournaments because at the end of the day, he comes through, he brings all his cards knowing he can't play. So if I ever forget anything, I'm like, yo, D Rob. He actually sound he my favorite card from Civil War was Prowler. He signed all copies of my Prowler because he always is able to fetch me something. He's always able to give me extra cards.
I gotta get him to sign some. That man is a living legend. You know what's funny too? So during your game with Cell,
Yeah.
at one point you activated Red Skull, so Cell couldn't draw, and he went to draw, and D Rob was there. He was like,
Yes.
"You can't draw that shit." I was
He was
like,
like,
"Oh
stop
shit!"
it. Stop.
I was nervous, and I wasn't playing the game when he did that. It was
Yeah.
like the principal was like, "What the fuck is up?"
Right?
And then I was joking with him in my game with Chad. I told you I drew twice by accident. I was like, D Rob, where were you? You were fucking all over Cell. Where were you for me?
No, I remember that because you were like, "Deep, come on!"
Yeah,
No,
come on, man.
that was
Call the
great,
draw.
man. But yeah. So again, I'm just gonna go through it again. Big shout outs to Bert, New York Minute. That's new. Yeah, NY Minute on Spotify. Team Apex, they're on Spotify as well. We got like Buckeye in Discord. If y'all not in Buckeye Discord, y'all need to jump on that. Like, yes, obviously be in the official Upper Deck Discord and then the Illuminati where you can get your matches on and stuff like that, matches over camera. But you need to be in Buckeye. You need to be in Build Phase because these guys put out content. They put out discussions. They run tournaments. These guys keep the community fresh. So shout out to them for real. And I actually want to give a really, really big shout out to first Hector. Thank you for pulling me back into this game. Hector, he hit me up during COVID. He was like, "Hey, want to play in this tournament?" And I was like, "I don't think I have all the sets." He was like, "It doesn't matter, just play." I was like, "You know what? It's COVID, whatever. Let's do it." Like shuffled it up, and that brought me back in. And then 100%. I know a lot of people are still on edge about this guy, this man, but shout out to Ralph Edwards. Listen, Ralph Edwards, he came to Gen Con not knowing if he could play in this tournament, but he was still upbeat about everything. He gave hints to Jose, he gave hints to Pat, he gave me hints. Like he was like sitting there shuffling up cards. He was practicing with us. He was going in the lab. Like that kind of effort just to be a better person. Like we all know what happened. We all know what happened between him and Caleb. And I'm not taking anything away from the situation. What he did was fucked up. But he's trying to atone for himself. He's trying to be a better person. And I've been around him now. He's a better person. And I don't just like give anybody willy-nilly backing. Like you got to prove to me that you actually are a changed person and he's done that. So I am 100% backing him trying to come back to the game. I know that he needs to talk to Caleb. I know at the end of the day, Caleb has got to give him the okay. And this is just me saying, like, the man's making an effort to be better. So big
Yeah,
shout out to Ralph.
he messed up. He knows he messed up. He genuinely apologized, and
Hmm.
he make the community is better with him. It's yeah, no, I agree. Big shout out to him. He like the man has said like, if I come back, like I'm gonna donate the money. Like I just love the few people love the game as much as he does. He
Yeah,
just loves playing the game. Like that's what it is. He just wants to play.
yeah, and he's like so competitive. Like I remember back in the day, like we used to go at it in old school verses, and he was just so competitive. He has that competitive edge that you're looking for when you're looking for a sharp player. So you know, thank you for proving that you can change. Thank you for proving that you can have these mindsets and you can change and be a better person. Thank you, Ralph.
Yep.
All right.
Quick,
So,
quick, let me loop back to Hector too. I gotta when you were shouting out Hector, I gotta shout out Hector. Hector was one of my groomsmen. I have been friends with Hector
a
for over 20 years, and I am, as I said before, I'm thrilled that he says he's coming back. He's coming back, ladies and gentlemen, and don't sleep on this man. Like I said, Mimicon, he had a winning record with Sabretooth.
that says a
The
lot.
the average player cannot do that. The average player, he beat some rogues. That's crazy
With
with Sabretooth.
was
No,
that?
but
I'm
all
sorry.
joking aside, he's one of my best friends. I'm glad to see he's coming back.
He beat Rogue with Sabretooth? Okay. All right.
It happens.
Well, hey, savage surprise, right? Oh yeah. All right, but hey,
Shout outs,
go ahead.
honestly, to everyone in the top 16. Shout outs to my brother. Shout outs to my girlfriend who let me play the game. Shout outs again to my brother who helped me build a deck.
Ooh, ooh.
Shout outs to you, awesome two gentlemen who are like a great teammates. And we have thought of a lot of stuff. We play tested a lot. Shout outs, honestly, to everyone. Shout outs to the judge. Shout outs to the community in general. Shout outs to the new players. This is an awesome community. So
Big facts.
thank you
Big
all for
facts.
everything. I do feel lucky to be the champ this year, and I'm not gonna lie. I hope Team LGD we do it next year as well. So
Show us the belt. Show us
show us
the
the
belt.
belt.
That was the best time for the belt to come out. Yeah.
Yeah. As
Just
we
so
do.
everyone knows, Osh and I had talked about convincing Jose to wear nothing but a belt and a smile. He declined, and the smiles are the best.
Yo,
I was honestly literally 2 seconds away from giving this belt away to Mitch because I know he said he really liked it. And I didn't, and then I found out how much Upper Deck paid for it, and I was like, "Shit, in that case, I need to keep it because it was an expensive belt."
oh
So,
man.
shout outs to everyone. Shout outs to Mitch. It's a great top two. Shout outs in general. Like as I said, there's just not enough shout outs. There's so many great people in this community.
Big
And I
facts.
look forward to seeing you all in Ohio. I have some interesting ideas. I'm curious to see what else everyone else comes up with, but Ohio should be interesting.
Yo, Ohio's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
I'll
I'm
do great.
I'm just really trying to
I'll
make that happen, man. For real. Like
You
Ohio
guys
should be
are
fun.
this is like, I mean, I don't want to put pressure on anyone. I don't want like to ruin everyone's schedule, but there have been a couple sets released since, like, since Bert did his last set review. We need some New York minutes on AEW. We need some New York minutes on, what was it? It wasn't the boys. What was the other set? I think it was mainly
It was
AEW.
AEW and this Franklin Richards bullshit. Like,
Yes, yeah, Fractured
what the
Family. Bert, I need to know what you think about Fractured Family.
You
I
gotta
need
be
to know what you
kidding
think about
me!
AEW. The community needs to know.
It's
We need
bullshit.
to know.
It's
Yes,
bullshit.
please, sir.
Bullshit.
Release
Anyway,
your data.
but hey,
Release your opinions.
last and not, of course, not least, shout out to everybody that showed up in the chat. Team Apex, all 32 members of you guys. Ralph Inverts, Hector.
Every third comment is
Yes.
Ralph.
Big shout out to
I gotta read
Dawson.
these comments afterwards.
Oh yeah, you got to. You got to go back and read them. I think they'll publish. Yeah, we'll go. And hey, thanks for stopping by and getting drunk with Lex Get Dangerous. Again, we
Sure.
appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And at the end of the day, we're all family, man. This is